the Productive Garden, and I sort of realised that although I've done a lot of videos showing the things that I've done in my garden and giving you tips and that sort of stuff, I've never really shown you what I am doing in my garden. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a tour now of my garden. Now, my garden, or my yard generally, isn't in the most tidy state. I haven't had a lot of time lately and had a lot of other things going on, but please forgive a bit of mess, but you'll get a good idea of what I am doing in my garden, and also what some of my plans are, because it is very much a work in progress. There's been a lot of years where I haven't done much around the yard at all and let it get a bit messy, and now's the time for me to start pulling my finger out and getting things done. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so this is a part that we call our corner garden. So you've got the pond there, a few just general pot plants and that sort of stuff. Okay, we've got dwarf peach tree there, got a mandarin tree back in the distance, got some raspberry canes which I need to tie up and tidy up a bit. A lot of weeding to be done. I'll move along to our herbs with coriander, mint, marjoram, some chives and lemongrass, basil underneath the orange tree here, purple and Vietnamese basil, got some Vietnamese coriander, also got some lime balm, with lemon balm, more chives. Okay, and we've got some small potted plants there, just some strawberries and some chocolate mint, which I'll be able to maybe sell at one of the local markets pretty soon. So I'll do that just for a little bit of extra cash to just to help buy stuff for plants and that sort of stuff. So there's my main chocolate mint plant. Okay, the orange tree here. Okay, a few orchids, strawberries there, which are sort of hardening up for winter, so we should get some nice strawberries off them next spring again. Okay, just some few orchids here, a bit of mess. Okay, and the fairy garden, which I recently made with my daughter. Me and my wife made that with my daughter, and yeah, she loves her fairies, and she wanted a garden so that they could come and visit. So that's it there. Got a few apple trees, apple tree there, a quince tree behind it, which quinces aren't that good to eat on their own, but they're magnificent to make jam with. Got a lemon tree behind it, got another apple tree there, and beyond the little portable clothesline, an avocado tree. So that's part of the fruit trees. We've got some rosemary there as well. And you can see the compost bin. I have two compost bins. That one's the one that I'm putting stuff in at the moment that I'm building up. And this one across here, that's the one that I'm letting sort of cure or set or whatever you want to call it at the moment. Okay, and we head further down the backyard where there's a lot more mess. The garden sheds, that's the one that I put my tools in. I've done a video about that one, setting up my tools in there. That's my other shed with all my other stuff in it. Okay, here's the chooks here, and we'll go and have a look in now. These are two Marin chooks. I need to get some more hens for this fella, but they lay a very dark brown, chocolate brown egg. So we'll go in here. Okay, so eventually this will be 4 separate chicken runs, and this fencing here is only temporary. It'll look a lot more attractive without just bird netting on top. But inside each chicken run I have always lots of chicken poo. It's amazing how much chicken poo 2 chickens can generate. But that's the chicken feeders with the water. This string here is what I use to tie off weeds and that sort of stuff, and of course nesting boxes for them to nest in. Okay, there's some other just general chooks down here. They're just normal backyard layers, and each of the chicken runs is basically the same. But yeah, I'll be able to have 4 separate chicken runs. The ones in the middle, they have a setup like this. I was originally going to have a back door where the chickens could come out in all of them, but in the end ones here we don't really need it. But in the middle ones you can see there's a space like this in the framework where I'm going to cut out the metal at the back and just put a door in so I can let them each lot of chooks out separately so that they can go and free range through the backyard separately rather than mixing them all up, because eventually we'll just have a few different types of chooks and do a little bit of breeding and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the plans with the chook house here. Still a lot of work to do here, but it is still possible for the chickens to live in here, and they quite enjoy it. This rooster here is a little bit feisty sometimes. You've got to keep an eye on him, because when you've got your back turned, sometimes he comes and jumps on the back of your legs, which he's not too bad. He just sort of doesn't hurt you or anything like that. Okay, I've got here, this is a fairly new berry that I've got planted here behind the chook runs, and it's called a Macquai berry. Apparently it comes from South American mountain area, and it's supposed to produce a berry that's very high in antioxidants, so I'm looking forward to getting some berries off that. We've got 2 of them. Got a blueberry here. Okay, it's going dormant for the winter, and there's another Macquai berry, and they're evergreen, so that shouldn't lose its leaves. Okay, here, this mess here is the old veggie garden. Now I'm redoing my vegetable garden beds. So this is eventually going to be dismantled. That's why I haven't worried too much about the weeds in it. I'm going to do something that's a little bit more manageable, a little bit more organised, and that's these beds here. So I'm going to have a series of raised beds. They're 1.8 metres by 1.8 metres, or about 6 feet by 6 feet. Okay, and it'll allow me to do a bit of crop rotation. Yeah, just to access things a lot easier, and hopefully grow a lot more vegetables. Eventually I've got 3 across there now. There will eventually be 4 across there. Then there'll be another row where I'm standing here now with 4 across, and maybe another row of just 6 foot by 3 foot beds, just smaller beds. So we'll have a whole lot of beds which we'll be able to grow vegetables in. Okay, so that's the back part of our yard. Sort of plans we have up here, should talk about these. We have some hazelnut trees. Again, they're going dormant for the winter, so they're losing or lost most of their leaves. So yeah, they'll come up in green all next spring. They should start actually flowering soon. I'll show that when they do flower. You can see a little bit here. You can see that there is an immature male flower, and the female flowers, if I do manage to get a shot of them, are just like tiny little pink hairs just coming out of the trunk somewhere or a branch somewhere. So if I do get a shot of them, they're apparently fairly insignificant, but I'll get a shot of those. So in my veggie gardens here, I should tell you what I've got. I've got broccoli, starting to get some heads on those. You can probably see it if I focus in. No, it's not going to focus with the bird netting in front of it. There you go, you can see the broccoli head there. So I'm starting to get some heads on these broccolis, on these broccoli. And I've got some more broccoli in seed trays inside, so when this stuff is fruited, I should have those already in the garden, ready for another round of broccoli to come along. Okay, I've also got kale, some red and up further green kale. Got some kohlrabi and Brussels sprouts as well. I've got garlic coming along, and in here I haven't done real well, I haven't come up much yet, but I've got carrots sown in here, and there are a few small ones come up. You probably won't see them here, they're pretty insignificant, but hopefully we should get some carrots from there. In here we've got more garlic, got lettuce, got some red silver beet or Swiss chard, got red sorage, celery, and some snow peas. So that's in the second bed, and in the third bed we've got some parsley, got some bok choy, and a whole lot of kale, Tuscan kale, red kale, green kale. Got a Mexican tarragon, which is that yellow flowered plant there, and we've also got some cauliflower in here as well. And what I'm starting to do with my planting is not to plant everything in neat rows, but sort of mix things up a bit more companion planting, that sort of stuff. I went to a garden recently called Glenmore House, and they do a lot of that stuff where they mix things up, and they find that a lot more productive than just putting everything all at once. So yeah, that's what I'm just doing, a bit of mixing about and that sort of stuff. It's a bit of a change to my usual mode of gardening. It's usually nice straight rows, but yes, making a bit of a change to that. Some of the plans we have for this area, other than more vegetable beds filling in the area, is around the fence line, putting in more fruit and nut trees. So you can see along the fence line now, okay, around the chicken coop there'll be trees. A lot of the trees that we put along this side here will be deciduous trees, so that they still get plenty of sun during winter. And just up along the fence there'll be more fruit trees and a bit more fruit and woody herb trees as well in amongst those fruit trees. So the more perennial things like rosemary, what else, like a bit of wormwood maybe that we can put in the chicken coops to keep the insects away. Those sort of more woody types of herbs will go in now. You might sort of wonder why I've got the chicken coops facing this way, that the opening faces to the fence. And okay, it makes access a bit of an issue, but the reason I've done that is because the way they're facing is pretty much facing east or northeast, so they get the most sun. Being in the southern hemisphere, the sun rises from the east to the west, travels to the west, but travels along the northern face. Unlike in the northern hemisphere, obviously it still rises from the east and goes to the west, but it travels along the sort of southern horizon in the northern hemisphere. So we sort of, because we're on the bottom of the earth, it travels along the northern horizon rather than the southern horizon. So that's why I've got them facing there, so the chooks can get more sun. Okay, and a bit of shelter, because that's west over there. They get a bit of shelter from the western sun. Okay, we'll go out the front and we'll have a look at what we've got out in the front yard. Okay, so here we are out in the front yard, and down our front path we have a lily-pilly hedge, which I need to trim in the very near future. Bit of work to do. That's our wisteria, which is going off to autumn. Bit of a messy garden there, which needs to be tidied up. This is the herbs that we put in. I did a garden update video, or sorry, a front garden renovation video. So we've got some herbs in there, some chamomile. I forget what that purple plant is, but it's not a herb of any sort. Got some variegated lemon thyme, stevia, sugar plant, an olive herb. Nice, gives a nice olive taste when you add it to cooking. Lavender, some chilies. No chilies on at the moment. It's a bit cold here, and I think that fella there just likes a little bit more water, so I might have to give him some more water. Sage, normal common thyme, some more lemon thyme. Licorice plant, beautiful licorice taste in that, very nice in herbal teas. It's a bit of a native orchid to Australia. Australian native purple plant, I can't remember what that's called, it's got a purple flower in it. Yeah, it's an Australian native plant. Got some aloe vera here, also has some aloe vera in pots out the back, and that's coming along pretty well. Got pineapple sage. Okay, we've got some Feijoa, I think you call it, or pineapple guava. Okay, that's a buddleia, I think that's called. Okay, going to cut that back soon. It's finished flowering for the year. A miniature banksia there, which is an Australian native plant. Okay, and a pond out the front as well. The tadpoles love this pond. I'll see if I can show some tadpoles in now. You can see the tail of one just there. There he goes. So yeah, tadpole pond, they love that. The frogs inhabit that pond pretty regularly. Okay, around here, got some locust trees, or loquat, some people call them. Got a mulberry seedling here. Bit of a failed mango seedling. It obviously didn't like it too much. Another mango seedling which worked for us. We've got some macadamia trees. Macadamias are a local, or an Australian native, I should say. They're not local here, they're in rainforest up in the northern part of Australia, but they do grow here pretty well. So I've got 3 of them, so hopefully all 3 of them take off, but at least 1 or 2 of them do. Nice water feature there. and back to the front door with the dog. Okay, so yeah, that's our garden tour. Rightio, so that's a look at what's going on in my garden at the moment, and to talk about some of the plans that I've got. I've got a lot of work to do here, lots of garden beds to build and that sort of stuff, so I better get on with it. Okay, that's it for now. See you next time. Happy productive gardening.